So the first scientist we're going to talk about today is Alice Ball. She was born on July 24th, 1892, which is a very long time ago. Fortunately, she didn't live very long, only into her early 20s, and she died on December 31st, 1916. She is most known for her work at the University of Hawaii, which is where she went to school. And after studying, she became the University of Hawaii's first female professor and their first Black professor. So, what is she known for? She is known for the Ball method, which is the way that we treat leprosy in people. If you don't know, leprosy is a disease that mainly affects your skin, where you get a bunch of like blisters and other unpleasant things like that. When she was 23, she figured out how to cure leprosy. What she did was take oil from a chalmuga tree, which is pictured right here, and changed its chemical compound so it could be injected like vaccines are today. The way the chalmuga tree works is that its sap can help with the blisters on your skin. So when it's injected, it can make the leprosy go away altogether. And thanks to her work, she was able to save thousands of lives.
So I'm presenting on Marie Curie, who was born on November 7th, 1867, in what is now Warsaw, what at the time was in the, I believe, the Kingdom of Austria. But she couldn't go to college in Warsaw because the school there was for men only. So she studied in secret. She studied science with other women in an underground um, college, specifically for people who were not allowed at the university. So she was the first person, not just a woman, the first person to win 2 Nobel Prizes. She won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1903 and Chemistry for 1911. So she was a physicist and a chemist. And she died on July 4th, 1934, of complications related to radiation poisoning. She used to carry a radioactive material in her pocket for study, and they believe that that's helped to contribute to her death. So fun facts about her. She coined the term radioactivity. So when you say radioactive, you're saying a word that she made up. It means that they produce waves of energy based on the structure of their atoms. These are just weird little elements that produce waves because they're made like that. And she and her husband Pierre discovered 2 new elements, radium and polonium, which are both radioactive, even though uranium is one of the best known radioactive materials. Radium and polonium are both also radioactive. When her husband Pierre died in 1906, she became the professor at the University of Sorbonne in his place. So even though she didn't have a proper university education, she became the first female professor at Sorbonne, France.
And I will be presenting on Marie Dahl. She was the first African American woman to earn her PhD in chemistry. She was born in Queens, New York. She died in New York, New York. Maria was married to Vincent Clark in 1961. Her father was an immigrant from West Indies. He enrolled at the Cornell University to study chemistry, and her mother, Helen, grew up in Washington, D.C., and was a kind of a stay-at-home mom. She did a lot of reading to Maria, and she didn't really get a college education. Maria went to Hunter High School, an all-girls institution, and she also attended Queens College in New York. She was doing a program called PSEO, is what we call it today. She graduated with honors in 1942, so she graduated a high school diploma and also college credits. She didn't have a lot of money for grad school, so she landed a job as a lab assistant so that she could get a fellowship so that could pay her way through grad school. She finished her master's degree, and then in 1944, she went to Columbia College for her doctoral program. She finished her doctoral program, making history being the first female African American to receive a PhD in chemistry in the US in 1947. In 1955, Dow worked closely with Deming, and they were working on the causes of heart attacks. Their work was moved to Einstein College of Medicine, where they disclosed the relationship between high cholesterol and clogged arteries. Dow was taught also teaching biochemistry courses for the lower minority people and people of color that were enrolled in medical school and grad science programs. In 1988, she started a scholarship in honor of her father for minorities who studied science at Queen College. Towards the end of her life, she retired from Albert Einstein College in 1986, and some of the honors she has includes Phi Beta Kappa, as well as a fellow of the American Association for the Advancement of Science.
All right, so the last scientist that we have for you today is Macy Jemison. So May was born in 1956, and at the age of 16, she attended Stanford University, where she earned her Bachelor's of Science degree in Chemical Engineering and a Bachelor's of Arts degree in African and African American Studies. And then right after that, she went back to school and she earned her medical degree from Cornell. And so some cool facts about May. May is able to speak Swahili, English, Russian, and Japanese. She's also a physicist, an astronaut, a scientist, a dancer, a professor, and an entrepreneur. She's worked as a medical doctor and also served in the Peace Corps. And so if you're wondering how to become an astronaut, these are 4 things to follow according to NASA. NASA is basically an administration that's responsible for science and technology as it relates to air and space. And so they say that you have to be a US citizen. A master's degree in STEM is also required. So a master's degree is basically 1 or 2 years of a degree or study after your bachelor's degree. And then STEM is basically science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So you'd have to have a bachelor's degree and then a master's degree right after that in any STEM field. And then you'd also need 2 years of professional experience, and then you'd have to pass some sort of a NASA test. All right. And so I also wanted to share with you guys an inspirational quote that I find very inspirational. So it says, never be limited by other people's limited imaginations. If you adopt their attitudes, then the possibility won't exist because you've already shut it out. You can hear other people's wisdom, but you've got to reevaluate the world for yourselves. Basically, she's telling us to reach for the sky. So you're wondering, who is she and what does she do? So basically, May was the first African-American woman in space. She and her co-investigator did 2 bone cell research in space. And then also she orbited the Earth 123 times in a shuttle called Endeavour. And then the shuttle is the one that's shown right here. And she was in space for about 190 hours, 30 minutes, and 23 seconds. I find that very, very amazing. And so right now, though, May is teaching at Dartmouth. So she's a professor at Dartmouth College. And so she also founded her own company called Jemison Group, which aims to encourage kids to love science and also brings advanced technology to schools across the globe. Yep, so that's what she did. And that is my presentation for you today. And again, if we can follow her inspirational quote and reach for the sky, pursue our love of science and interest, and go at it. All right, thank you guys. Bye.